Jane Stevens. Hi, how are you?
All right, here we go. Good to see you.
Hi, it's so good to see you. We've actually seen each other twice now in passing with masks on through the building.
Yeah,
When you were checking mail and I was checking to see if my office had anything but dust and cobwebs in it on campus. But
on campus because you work for the college, correct?
I,
What exactly are the titles that you hold at Clackamas Community College as of now, Chris Whitten?
um, well, I'm holding as many titles as they'll continue to allow me to hold. I'm actually a full-time faculty, that you know. I'm also a member of the full-time Faculty Association Senate, which means I'm part of the governing component of the faculty. I'm also the CODA with a silent J department chair. So I'm the department chair of the theater, the comm, and the journalism department. And I'm recently now I've been asked to be the faculty ambassador for the shared governance exploration for definition and how we want to continue to honor that at the college. So I wear almost as
Sounds
many
like
hats as
you're
I
doing
do in the
a lot.
summertime.
It does sound like you're doing a lot. So, like with those titles, like the administrative titles, like what exactly does that mean that you do for the theater department?
Well, beyond the art pieces and the education pieces, which is still the tech theater. So I'm still the tech theater piece of
I
the
see.
program on campus. And I'm proud to say that we're doing our best in the remote online learning and shifting, trying to figure out how we continue to offer experiences for school experience that is in a face-to-face format, but we're continuing to do what we can, and we're one of three kind of tech theater experience for students. And the department chair just makes sure that the schedules get done with the deans on up. The department chair work. The ambassador of shared governance is again just trying to figure out how we move forward in sharing the governance of the college. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I will continue to do that as long as they continue to have a spot for me on campus. Like everyone else, we're facing budget challenges and
Mhm.
restrictions at the college, and unfortunately, the arts is always I want to say fiscally negative. I've always liked to say that the arts isn't about making money; it's about making people happy. So we'll continue to do that as long as that makes sense. Okay, and that the two programs, that is Clackamas Repertory Theater and the program at the college, have had uh, a long-term relationship. As a matter of fact, they have been part of each other since the beginning of Clackamas Repertory Theater with David and Cindy brilliantly with the administration core at the top, birthing into existence this opportunity that brings us to this interview.
Yeah.
And you, Jane Stevens, are one of the proudest examples of a student that actually came from the theater program at Clackamas Community College and is now part of Clackamas Repertory Theater. So
I am a
congratulations.
product of that pipeline
There we go.
from the college through Clackamas Rep, 100%. So at the college, are there classes going on right now? Are you still teaching? So you said you were doing remote teaching. How do you teach technical theater remotely? What creative ways have you come up to educate your students, Chris?
Well, for the first, I don't know, 20 years ago, I said, wow, if the idea of doing tech theater online or remotely meant I would first have to teach people how to turn their parents or their own coffee table into a table saw, and then we could work from there. But no, the the opportunity, it's really kind of been fun with students where they recognize Chris Whitten seems to come up with a lot of ideas, and Chris Whitten seems to be the driving force behind, well, this is what the set's going to look like, this is what the lights are going to look like. Well, here we go. And take them through partnering along the process to be part of that. Now I've had the opportunity to go back and say, what if it was your charge as a student to read the script, speak with the director, and then in a collaborative nature begin to come up with choices of your own. So I've sort of put them in the place where they get to be their own scenic and lighting, props, sound designers, where they start thinking about, oh my goodness sakes, this is a lot of work. This is hard to do. So it's kind of taken some of the magic that Chris Whitten somehow just comes up with these ideas and puts it back into you really have to do the work of creativity that makes it viable instead of just by happenstance.
I would say one of my favorite things of working with you as a technical director is the collaboration and the ideas going back and forth and all the meetings that we get to have together. And so launching into that, this last summer was really hard for me. You know, it was like, I've been hanging out with you for 15 summers straight and then I don't get to see you. So it was rough. It was rough. I miss Chris Whitten, but you know, looking back at all the shows you've designed sets and lights for at Clackamas Rep, is there, you know, one that was like a favorite for you, or one, it doesn't have to be one that I had any part of.
Yes, because
offended,
well,
but
one
is there
slight
one that like
hitch.
shines bright that you always go back to that was just an amazing experience?
Okay, so one slight hitch, it's a tie between that, of course, and let's see, that would be Annie and South Pacific. Those three, actually, they're just a tie. You know, it's interesting because last summer was the first summer that I wasn't designing scenery for Clackamas Repertory Theater in the last 16 years now. And when we first came together and said, well, if we build it, will they come? Kind of a theory in theater. We said, we don't know how long this will last. Let's try it for a year and see if anyone comes. And then we said, oh, let's try it a second year and see if anyone comes back. And we continue to meet this amazing audience with the opportunities to say, isn't this especially to spend the summer? So I want to say that maybe it's a tie between Moon Over Buffalo and Queen's Girl in the World, because that's the first show we did, and it's the most recent show that we have done. And
that answer.
It's scary to think that I actually have done the main stage scenic and lighting design for all of the shows in between.
You have.
So
Yes.
it's like having children where you just can't say, that's my favorite. Right?
You're right.
So,
you're right. You like them all for different reasons. They're your favorites for different reasons. 100%. But if anybody questioned what the look is of CRT, it is the brainchild of Christopher Whitten, because like you said, you have designed every show we have produced on that stage. So that's pretty amazing.
I have a specific style.
Yeah.
And I've often said I could design, 7 different sets, just pick one.
Just pick one. I've got a Rolodex of 7. You get to pick one of those.
7, just pick one.
I disagree. It's always unique to the show, and they're very show specific. And you are a detailed designer. You find things in the script that I sometimes overlook in my mind of many things. So I would pose to differ to that. But you had a career, prior to CRT. Those weren't the first shows that you designed. You worked as a scenic designer prior to that. So I'm curious, what was the very first play that you designed a set for and maybe built? Even maybe you didn't design it. What was the first set that you built? And then you can tell me the first one you designed.
Well, that's an incredible question, actually. And I think it was a World War I documentary in my parents' backyard that I did. But I do remember building the biplane that I was going to need for the air combat scenes. But the first play, I think I actually participated in as an actor and as a scenic designer was The Princess and the Pea, I think, in junior high school. I think, or it was some variation of Once Upon a Mattress, but it was The Princess, the idea of stacking up mattresses and things. So I I come at this from a visual artist's perspective first, and as an actor, I put those together early on in junior high and then high school, where I said, wait a minute, I think I can take the visual artist that is Chris Whitten and the performing artist that is Chris Whitten and put them together in this thing called theater, and then find out that they're both telling stories. It's just one is a picture of a story, and then two is people walking around on the sculpture that is the story. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people have gotten the pleasure of seeing your paintings on the set, but for those of you that don't know, I know that Chris is also an amazing painter, but you use multiple mediums, right, in painting?
yeah,
Tell us about that.
yeah.
What's your painting? What do you
Well,
paint?
there's a couple of watercolors actually behind me
you,
on
right?
the walls. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So I
Yeah,
painted these as well.
nice,
Now,
nice.
last summer,
Yeah,
well, wait a minute, this is always backwards, this camera.
my left, my right.
Over, over this shoulder, that shoulder.
Okay.
It's actually the studio. It's a little studio out here on the farm that Deb uses primarily for props and building and fabrication, but little studio. So I said, hey, I painted the studio out on the corner of the property out here on the farm. It's part of the 5 acres that we call the farm. And last summer, I actually redid the whole thing, painted it, and then put a new roof on it. So now I'm gonna have to open this painting back up and change the color, because instead of gray, it's now green and white like the rest of the house.
Or why don't you paint another? And
Oh,
paint
just
it
another.
currently, and then you'll never forget what it looked like before
Just
Chris
have
had
the
his
two
magic
next to
touch.
each other.
That's right. That's right. She can always remember her shabby shack and then the beautiful little cozy artist nook that you've created now.
I don't use it either way. She does.
Yeah, so
and that's
you've been
why I
on
do.
your farm a lot this year. Did you, like, what surprised you about your time away from Clackamas Rep? Did you do anything cool on the farm? You had a whole summer to yourself. Were there projects? Or did you have
Yeah,
us and just sat?
No, I spent as much time on the farm projects as I usually do on the Clackamas Repertory Theater projects. So every day, all day, into the night sometimes, as it got dark, I was working on projects here at the farm, including redoing the studio, and I did a lot of work on the lower barn, as well as moved to the hot tub and built a new over the hot tub that's next to the house. It just seemed like there was no end to the, hey, now that we've got the time, let's try this. So
Yeah.
we were really busy. It was very rewarding in a different way, but it was nowhere as to watch people come. Like for Annie, when the top of the show and the postcard was in, people would actually have their children walk up and then take a picture and then
pre-show.
post it. So
Mhm.
people go, here we are. We're actually Clackamas Rep, Annie, and take pictures. And that, to watch people kind of enjoy the opportunity just to step away into the magic world we call theater. There's nothing in comparison. To
You're
that.
right.
So
Nothing beats theater. And we
Okay.
have all felt that this year for sure. Going forward in this new year, 2021,
Yep.
what are you looking forward to, Chris? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the book club play, and to Desperate Measures, and to The Sound of Music.
So you're looking forward to a season at Clackamas Rep. I think
Of
we're all
course.
looking forward to that. Fingers crossed that everything's going to work out and we will be able to present theater again this summer. 100%.
Every day seems like a better possibility.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't work out, I will continue to look forward to the opportunity to rejoin the fine people that come join us in the summers. Just for people to do. So,
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today or this evening. It's nighttime.
what else?
That's it.
Oh.
You were so worried.
Are we out of your
I would
40
be
minutes yet?
equal to you.
Have we run out of your 40 minutes? No, we haven't run out of your. Hey, I gotta tell you, we're working on a really great project right now.
Yeah.
It's actually in the basement.
Here, I'm gonna stop recording. I love you.
You don't have
You
to.
want this on? Can I show this?
Yeah. So we were going through the process, right? Because I said, well, as long as we have the time and the space, and I have to continue to draw.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you can't give up blueprints.
So in the basement where the wardrobe storage is,
Mm-hmm.
which is precariously hung on the walls, and there's just rolling racks.
You're
We're
making a
actually-
giant closet storage area downstairs?
We're making frames and completely redoing the entire basement storage system, and Gina Piva and Dante are working with me. We're gonna build them so they're actually movable completely. So if we go to a different room somewhere on campus, we can take the racks with us. But we're hoping to maximize the amount of storage we have down there. So we
Nice.
minimize the wasted space, and we actually
Yeah,
get some of the
it's the
stuff.
vertical
the rolling
space.
racks. Is we're continuing to, we're using all the vertical we can downstairs in the basement, we call it. But it's a project that we're working on. It's one of the ways I was able to get Dante and Gina to, was ways rebuild that, not buildings there, so it was those two together. And as department chair, makes it easier to do that.
Yeah,
So it's exciting. Something else to look forward to on the tour, the backstage tours.
yes.
This-
When
that-
they buy the
we're gonna wanna-
backstage tour, they can go down and see the costume
gonna-
shop in the
I don't
basement.
want to take them down and say, hey, this is what the new storage looks like. We're
Very
also looking
nice.
at doing some kind of digital inventory as well as cataloging, so that you know, we can just look on a computer and find stuff, comes up in pictures, and then we can actually find
Oh
out
my,
where they are on the racks downstairs. So then you can say, hey, I really like this particular shirt, then finding out where it is and then going down and being able to pull it out. Or the
instead of looking
dress,
through every single shirt.
instead
every
of having to
single
go through
time.
every single shirt.
Like, I
So
think
we're
the blue
just-
one was in the back.
We're, instead of just going through and hoping that, you know, Alva was so great about remembering where everything was, that she could go, oh yes, I think that picture is, here it is.
Yeah,
Right, how do you do that? So to then to be able to share that out and say, okay, now we're looking for, do we have a yellow shirt? Well, let's go and look. And then we can, they go, well, I want to see that one. Well, that happens to be at A27. Then we can go downstairs, find the A27. Here's the yellow shirt. And then the real trick will be getting it back in the same place.
yes, people returning is
Come
a
back
problem.
in.
Maybe a rack for resorts and then
Yes,
students.
there's a
resort.
special area that when things come back, they get hung up.
Just like library books.
Yes, and then somebody who cares about the Dewey Decimal System goes and puts the costume piece back where it belongs. So
Yeah, I
it's just
think
one of the things-
That's a safe method.
one of
That's
the things that
always
we're
the
working on.
problem with an organization method, is if on a regular basis, people are not using the method, it doesn't work. You got to keep it
Right.
up, otherwise there's no point.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. It was great talking with you.
When will I see you again?
I don't know, when will we see each other again? We could
Because
do
we should be working on
we
the
could just do
season. If
this
we're
together.
gonna try and, if we're gonna try and do a season, we should be talking about that fairly quickly.
Yeah,